Have you ever met a guy who can cry at the drop of a hat? You've got all the evidence stacked against him. The truth is right there in front of both your faces. But then he gets to crying. And when he starts to cry, you're shocked. You're disabled. And suddenly, he's taking a little nip at your neck and dragging you off into the bedroom. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister. I hope you guys enjoy my funny intros, but I try to keep it balanced on this channel as much as possible. And the other day I was talking about how women who cry to manipulate men. And while this is something that women, I believe, they are winning by leaps and bounds with this particular behavior or this form of manipulation, there are men who can do it too. So today we're going to talk about that. Now, these men are very few and far between. They're there, but you just don't meet these kind of men all the time. And because they present very differently. It is, in my opinion, that a lot of times these men are going to be a lot more in touch with their softer side. They're going to be a little more sensitive. Sometimes they're not, okay? But that's just my opinion. But they will cry when they need you to stop what you're doing, when they want you to stop putting the pieces together, stop using your brain, stop thinking objectively, and think with your heart. You find, again, a lot of times men who cry and use tears to manipulate you have already a reputation for being manipulating. You'll find that they're not straight shooters. They are dodgy. They lie by omission, half-truths, bow-faced lies, or these gray areas. And one thing they're going to do a lot of times is they're going to top you off with a lot of sex. This is one area in which that man is going to be able to have your nose wide open, so to speak. He's going to top you off with the most delicious sex you've ever had. Okay? And when that happens, you have to understand that intimacy draws you together with someone in a lot of ways. People often think it's just a physical connection, but there is a deep emotional, spiritual connection, and you do have soul ties. That is why, depending on how close you are with this guy, sometimes you just think about him and he calls, or think about her and she calls, or you just get this feeling and they're at the door. You're somewhere you can feel when they're there, or long after it's over, they're still in your mind and still in your dreams. You hear their name, you get that flutter in your stomach. You are connected spiritually. You have a soul tie with this person. That's why your heart still quickens when you hear their voice, or if you see them, or if you dislike them and something has happened, you broke up and you hear their name, you still get this rush of absolute hatred for them, because there's still a connection. And what connects you to them? Your resentment. But that's another video. So a lot of times they're going to get in your head. They're going to learn your body. They're going to learn what you like. They're going to give that to you with sugar on top. And then when the time is right, they're going to deny you. They're going to take it from you. And then keep you in this position where they're going to begin to just ration it out to you and all of that. That's the way to keep you under control. And then they'll continue to do these little manipulating things that they've been doing. And when you find out about them, when you're coming closer to the truth, they will cry. They will shed some tears. They will have a hard done by story. They'll remind you of how they told you about their sad childhood when the bully punched their ice cream off the cone. You have to remember who left them. You have to remember who stole the string out their last shoe. These are the things that they're going to do to manipulate you, and they're going to use tears. Why tears will be disabling to women is because it's so rare to see men crying that when they cry, it's going to make you feel that you are special. It's going to make you believe that he must really love you to show this side of himself to you, to break down this way, to beg you, to weep, to moan, to grovel. But what it boils down to is he simply wants to get his way. That's it. He wants his way. And this is a way to control you. There's some men who will try to get their way by hitting you, threatening you. And then there are those who cries, because that really gives them a lot more control. If he can go and cry to your mother, he's going to get some control. If he can cry in front of a news reporter. Have you ever seen that? You see someone, they deleted their wives or they did certain things and then they're up there crying, and I don't know. To me, I can still see right through that, but they feel that by crying, it's going to steer the sense away from them and what they are doing. But it's all about control. It's all about getting their way. They just do it in a way that is not as offensive, and it's a way that it's like they are manipulating you in a stealthy way. Because a lot of women is going to mistake that for love. Men will also use tears when they want to turn people against you. So all of a sudden, if he's not getting his way with you, as I said, he may sit there with your family, the ladies that is, and cry to the ladies. Next thing you know, your mom, your sister, your friends, they're turned against you because he's crying to them. And what's going to happen is he begins to open up to them and they begin to get close. Don't be surprised if they don't start getting together. But he is often going to surround himself with women that he can manipulate and use and even weaponize against you. Men are not going to go and cry in front of other men because that's not going to fly. That is not going to work. Men are not trying to tolerate that foolishness. They do not want to hear that. A man cannot go to a man and cry to him about how he can't get a job or what's going on with him and he has no place to live. That is not going to work. Men are not going to sympathize with that. They are not going to understand that. If anything, they're going to tell him, you need to pull your bootstraps up, get your head together, get your head out the clouds, cut out that soft crime, stop being a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and get yourself out there and do something with yourself. So that is why they are always going to go to the ladies. Where would he have learned these things? Somewhere in his life, he picked up or learned in crying, I can get my own way. Maybe he was raised by his mom. Maybe he was raised in a house full of girls. Maybe he wasn't, but he saw that if I go and cry to my mother, I'm going to get my own way. There are men who none of those things are the scenarios. They just read a lot. There are people who literally sit and like to read about how to have power over individual. They want to learn the art of seduction. There's a book called The Law of Seduction. It's called also The Law of War, The Art of War. I believe it's The Laws of War. And it's by, I think it's Robert Greene, I think his name is. But his books are not about manipulating people. Far from it. But there are people who will try to read books like that, and then they read other things and they're searching the web because they want to learn how to have power over women, how to manipulate them, and they may learn how sex and tears and false humility is going to get them in the door with these women. And they'll continue to do it. And it's working for them. Through tears, they can get financial support. Through tears, they may get someone to co-sign for them. Through tears, they can get people to turn on someone who they are actually the ones that's hurting the person. Through tears, there are men who have cried and caused people to turn against their wives. They're the ones that's mistreating their wives, but they go and cry, and everybody believes them. They may go and cry. The only other place I know of that a man could go and cry and he's not going to be judged is the church. So he can go to the church and cry and moan, and it's going to turn the hearts of people against the wife. He can also go and cry in front of a counselor. And next thing you know, the counselor is all on his side. Because you can have a lot of book knowledge, but if you don't have discernment to really see and understand this behavior, yeah, that guy will go in there and cry, and he's going to get his own way. He really will. Now, with that, you have to understand, such men, the men who get away with this, he's going to have to look a certain way. Again, I hate to put it that way. I hate to say anybody's ugly, because we should not say that. But it's normally someone who's going to be attractive. He's going to be attractive in some way. He's got to be influential, if anything, but mostly attractive, because truth of the matter is most people are not going to pay attention to the average looking guy crying. Excuse me. No one's paying attention to the average looking guy crying or the unattractive guy crying. The last thing people are going to be looking for is an unattractive guy who's crying, and then when you're crying, you're even looking more. Nobody's cute when they're crying. So it's also a result of women's own biases. If he's attractive, if he has a nice body, sometimes he's really not attractive, but he is charming. He has charisma, swag, as some may say. His sex game is good. Okay, she messed around. She normally wouldn't have messed with him. She's normally not attracted to him, but he's charming, and he got close to her, and she thought, oh, he was just going to be a friend. And then one stormy night and one too many drinks, she's there messing with Mr. Huckabee. You understand? So that can happen. And once he gets in your head, regardless of how unattractive he is, and people are looking around like, why are you messing with a shoehorn? What is going on with you? It's because that connection, that soul tie has been established through the physical contact, also through the communication, because that's another way that can happen. If you have a lot of oral communication with someone, you have to understand. That's why people don't understand about how you can cheat emotionally, because that's more powerful than physically cheating. So he can get in said women's head that way. And it's hard for them to get out of it. And there's so many women, you have to understand, there are lots of women who need affection, who need and are seeking love, who want to be in a relationship. So this man is going to have a plethora of choices. And he's able to just continue to do this and just turn people against everybody, turn people against the wife, cry and turn people against even his own family. Could be doing something wrong with his own siblings and family, but he's going to cry. And because he is crying, it's so unique to see it. It's believable. That's where discerning comes in. But the thing about it is, if we will take the emotional blinders off, if we will try to avoid looking at people through our own needs and our own desires or our own biases, you're going to see the truth. You watch someone long enough, you're going to see them. And women, a lot of times, you see the truth there right in front of your face. But sometimes you don't want to accept it. Maybe despite all the damage and hurt this man is causing in your life, you are still, despite all the damage and all the hurt he's causing into your life, you are still, you're so tied to him and you believe so much, and there's such an unhealthy connection between you guys that you find yourself not being able to leave, or choosing not to leave, right? You don't want to leave. You don't want it to end. And sometimes you're willing to just sit there and take everything that comes with being with him simply because your blinders are on. So pay attention. And a lot of times, guys, before you get completely caught up and get manipulated by the crying man, there are normally some things that you're going to see from the start. And when you ignore those red flags, for whatever reason why you choose to ignore them, that is when they are going to begin to build upon all the games, do more and more, add the tears in, and you find yourself stuck and just on this toxic roller coaster with them. And you know what? It's going to be hard. People are not going to believe you. But you have to be strong enough to advocate for yourself and to stand up by yourself, even when other people don't believe you, even when it is your loved ones that don't believe you. It is hard, isn't it? You're losing your friends, you're losing people you care about. They don't believe you because of the crying man. Wow. But with that being said, be strong. And it's going to take counsel. If you have at least one person that you can talk to, seeing the truth for what it is. And if no one believes you, when all else fails and no one believes you, advocate for yourself, make those tough decisions, stand strong, keep moving, stand your ground. And you know what? It's going to just be a lesson learned. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye.